starting our first 3 games on E-District, this time with Group C versus D and their POI draft tip.
Start off strong here, or maybe the 2025 champions Alliance answer back with an early firepower start.
Taiwan market in general and the lack of space that you may find yourself if you go in for a late rotate, as we can already see the scans coming in with the skies looking congested off these crypto drones.
And immediately diving into some early kind of information, we're just trying to poking and prodding. Aurora, Effect, Yarka, Oirein, they're going to try and get that action. Now, we always talked about, especially at the beginning of year 6, Effect coming onto Aurora's roster after leaving Alliance. What would that look like? How would those calls work for the roster? But Yarka has been really cerebral about it, and most people kind of fail to miss. Like, he won a LAN from Go Next, so we do have LAN winners on this roster. We just need Oirein to get one as well. For Zipline Mafia, Kazakh falls to 1 HP, but gets back alongside weak Q away from them.
You know, sometimes when I feel like I'm getting whiplash watching a lot of these individual players take that TP back from the altar queue, it's also just the fact that you have double stun when it comes to having the deal with Seer, the crypto EMPs on top of it, but we're seeing Zero cleaning up Aku while he was at it, and it's Alliance in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, it's actually a really nice start for them because they actually begin up at Resort. We talked about it, but when you have that ring console at Boardwalk where Alliance was, you do kind of know that you can drop straight back down, especially based off the survey beacon they had at Resort. You're getting that info.
And because they waited for him on the other side of the portal too, that is so unfortunate, but fortunate for Liquid to pick up some easy KP off the start, leaving Alliance as that duo going through Blossom Drive. Hopefully they will be able to bring back their third, while Sentinels hopefully trying to get this Deathbox res too. Getting able to get Blinker right back, but the action does not stop. Caustic Bear, oh, he got kidnapped! Oh! All right, and he gets scanned while he's at it too. There's nowhere to run, playing off the sliver of health that he's working off of, but the pressure's not giving up. At least they got the res, which is what matters, but getting out of that situation is even more important for Sentinels.
I know, I'm like watching and counting our cooldowns through the portal. You got 8 seconds on the med kit, 10 on the Phoenix for Monsoon, but we're back up to mostly full health for them and a bit of stability. Now into the drone we go to make sure we scout out that area, but that was almost too close for comfort there.
The fact that they were able to get that, can we talk about some of those changes too? Being able to not have a countdown on being able to get the Deathbox res as well. So being able to pull that off, immediately get out of that trouble with the portal right through to the other side of the wall, but seeing the side-by-side of the other teams who are going to start rotating. Reject are right next to Liquid, by the way, after we saw them pick up that early KP from Alliance. I've been able to hopefully reset as they try to approach from the north side of zone, but VK Gaming taking their time coming out of Stadium where they have that ring console and survey beacon.
I've got to give it to our teams that are running Caustic that will have access to the ring consoles. The majority of them, you've made it into the next circle, so that's exactly what we want to see. Starting off in A versus B, a lot of people were fighting in that mid-game situation and didn't quite make it to endgame, and that lobby went a lot quicker. It did become a little more drawn out as we went through, but these teams are actually focusing more on getting into that circle. Of course, Aurora over at Stadium, yeah, they're not. For RC though,
a little bit of a different look with Reject now coming in from the outskirts of Energy Bank, where NIP will be trailing right behind him, where they have a survey beacon as well as a ring console. Again, it's more that side quest. They also have the Evil Harvester on the outskirts of that choke, so they'll be able to rotate through there through Energy Bank. But it's a little scary when it comes to the amount of ultras in this lobby. Sure, it's 100% pick rate for crypto in general, but it's the ability for a lot of these teams to reposition just as quickly. The Team Liquid now come out of Blossom, and Alliance were able, as we had already mentioned, fully reset. It's a great look for this team because no one's really trying to contest them on the western side of Street Market. So they're just playing on the outskirts, looking at teams like even GK, who are going to be able to take some lovely shots with this Hemlock here, trying to boost up Knock and that Evil Shield.
Yeah, I've been really exciting about that GK roster. Dropped, Keon, Knocked, and this is a great way to start things off. You're kind of all the way furthest south out of the teams. You do have Team Nemesis nearby, and as we kind of look at that free cam, you can see them just to the north ahead of that. You do have to make sure we're keeping tabs on that. Anytime Team Vision as well, as they kind of get closer to GK, make their presence known, they're guarding that ring console over there. So it leaves teams like Elite, who have found themselves dead center of circle, kinda up in that drone, just kind of keeping tabs. You see S8UL down there. Back to Team Liquid and Dinos though. Dinos the biggest question mark of our lobby, Vicky.
See how they're going to be able to fare off against a zone like this too, right? Or will they find themselves extinct? That's the question here while we take a look at the other teams who are on the high ground overlooking Street Market. We don't really get zones that end up pulling directly on top of it, but it's more so on the outskirts where teams that were able to find their place early on in these road takes, like GK as well as Team Nemesis, can get trickier for the teams that have to play off that low ground coming in from the north side of these rotates into Street Market.
It's kind of interesting. We haven't lost any teams just yet. Zipline Mafia, you can see rotating in from that eastern as you're talking about. VK Gaming in the north. Team Liquid and Dinos. Alliance. That's going to be a really interesting side when they decide to rotate in. Now, the question is, do we keep carving a path and maybe enter on the eastern as you see Team Liquid basically chaining those portals together? But Dogred, the first team out of our lobby at the hands of Nemesis.
And now Nemesis also looking right behind them with GK being right there. They're going to be able to clean up that KP just as quickly. And with round 2 closing in the next minute right now, they're going to be able to quickly reposition. I love the space that Nemesis are taking up here with GK being right behind them off of their own portal. They can't necessarily overextend because they know that Team Vision are neighboring right to their right. Also love to talk about the passive of the Altar being going to be able to also scoop up any extra mats that they need, considering that they've been here in this building from the very beginning.
As we keep tabs on Team Liquid, they're going to have to make sure that they gatekeep behind them. I'm sure they're already aware that someone is potentially going to follow them into this circle. But I love that we got to look at that southern side. Team Nemesis recognizing immediately, like, we clear this out, we have the potential to win this game as long as we can hold steady. But to Aurora, who notices south side is incredibly important, GK immediately portals back. We've got to get with the team, stand our ground.
I was looking to see what was going on over there with Sentinels, now forced to play that out as a duo. Aurora now make their next move. Isolated to their backs, approaching from the south side of where Team Vision is, but it was important when you highlight where that ring console was in front of Aurora to get that information too. Talk about Dog here. Oh, Gillibusty's literally won, but an insane nade. EMP is the nail in the coffin. Who's gonna take apart this team as Nemesis try to contest? GK now move up. They wanted to get some of the action here while Sacred is farming thus far.
Oh, here we go. We lost Knocked. Dropped is in drone, and here's Keon. We have to keep tabs on Aurora, who are full sending the south side, and on the low ground they are. They're forcing them down. All is gonna fall onto Keon here while we wait for Drop to join him. I love that we've got that angle for him. We don't have EMP, so it had been recently used, but an Arcstar should withstand just fine until Nemesis drops down and starts looking at GK as well. Sacred is here to get in the action.
Hold on, you're mentioning this young gun legend, 17 years old. Sacred has been farming as he claims another victim. Dropped is the next to fall, as well as the rest of GK. Now Aurora moving up to get into position, finding that one lone member of Team Nemesis, but it's fine. They have the TP from the Altar who'll get back together with the rest of Team Nemesis, but collecting KP this early, Tiff, is important to set up this momentum on E-District.
And they're standing that area. They're making sure if someone tries to make a threat to it, we're dealing with it. And using Sacred on the Altar to do that is just what needs to be done. For Alliance, we are on a different side of things. We're just north of Team Nemesis, and now Dinos who are rotating in, you have to make sure that we keep tabs. White Grim Reapers, that's who they get the initial knock and full on, and we haven't fully been able to stabilize because we have multiple teams trying to push in on this fight.
Essentially evicting them, right? Because now they're forced to go over to that north side. Crazy clip, by the way, we're currently seeing Unlucky now. Blood in the water, he's hungry. Hearing the crypto drones, great tracking, destroying it before it gets any information onto the rest of his team right behind his back. You talk about Dino too already.
They turned around.
They were like, all right, let's
nope.
go.
We're good. And I called them the biggest question mark in our lobby because you think back to the America Split 1, right? They had some of the most impactful performances, and they're one of the newer teams in general.
And as we take a look at Team Liquid, they're going to face off against Dinos. Let's jump into a listen in with Team Liquid.
Any feet all three? Okay. Slide forward. I'm securing. Taking the top. Zero. I am. Can we jump second? Yeah, do jump second with you. Crossing that. My head. Nice. I'm securing. My head. Sit on me. On me. Nice. Wait, he's one. He's on. Nice. The team wrapping. Okay. Look for the team wrapping us. Top. Nice. I'm gonna medkit. We fucking got this. not kidding. I'm gonna scan.
I need 3 UAV if possible.
Yeah. I can get through UAV. I'll get closer. I'm
if we need your in, I don't think we have time to fight right now.
Yeah. I'm waiting. Yep. Gonna try to do it.
Are you picking back here, Panic? Anyone?
Yeah, I have blue pings.
Yeah, we don't have
There's a team on the right side there. No one's close on console right now. No one's close in any of this, okay?
Make sure you come try to.
Zero's forehead is just close enough to see everything on his screen after they just cleaned up Dino. They're able to reset fully. You can hear a res in the distance. That one member of Alliance, Tiff, was looking to see what the action was looking like, but getting back together with the rest of the team, you're going to try to pry holding that southern side of zone.
Yeah, and it was a big win. You clear out that side unless someone decides to run back at it, but now you be able to walk into the choke. You've got White Grim Reaper nearby, but of course, we're still looking at teams that have to find their path into the circle. Enter Force 36 on the screen here, and Obli as well. A former LAN champion joins up with ILY and Synap at the start of this year, just after champs, and they were one of the teams that I was most excited to watch here when we got to LAN.
Hey, that's going to be even more exciting when you got a Kraber in hand too, seeing how that's going to play out for them and trying to get control over this eastern side of zone. Look at NIP though, trying to see if they can get a kidnap. A Synap gets the follow-up after getting the Kraber shot, the RE45, more than enough. They get stunned though, they get scanned while they're at it, and they do manage to reposition. Just us right there to give them some backup. Putting down these caustic barrels because they are aware of the caustic barrel right behind them that goes off, that there's another player trying to sneak up from the other side.
I love that as we kind of have this like shared screen moment, you see who it is that's going to be behind them. Ninjas in Pajamas, a team that we actually didn't even talk about at the top of the show. They're kind of dealing with Elite Esports and Kinotrope, but they're going to have to move, but it's all about that timing. Because if you send yourself over to Street Market where you find maybe a shrivel of coverage, you're going to get ripped from the team that rotates directly behind you because they're just full sending.
Because nowhere is safe though. Synap gets immediately aimed after they get to teleport right through the wall. NIP, aware but beautiful coverage from E36, not allowing NIP to fully capitalize off of this. Cole and Vayne, unfortunately, lose out on their shields. You see Synap trying to actually move forward, but off the kidnap, they take 2 different angles, Tiff.
And that is why Seer, Kirev here, makes things so difficult for Synap. And hello, now you've got a Kraber. We have 60 bullets in the R9, which can make things difficult, but if you whittle him down with a Kraber first, that'll work.
The fact that we also saw just non-stop fighting in the kill feed too, man. Like back-to-back E36, eventually they get eliminated. Zip taking a chunk out of them, while Elite also were able to get some KP. Pirates, let's see if they are able to reset too, with so many of these altars in the lobby. Vayne holding the high ground, looking down at the action right in front of them, while Team Liquid, all gas, no brakes. They're right on top of Aurora's heads, which is crazy to highlight the fact that they're one of the few teams, maybe the only team, rocking the fuse this early.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting because you have to think, effect, he's going to have all of Altered's package to maybe like push a play onto them. And if you've got that fuse in play alongside it, look, that's going to be a messy engagement that many people might look at. So for Aurora, just saying, yeah, let's look towards Team Vision, maybe WGR. We have to solidify ourselves in that next circle.
There's like those Cinderella stories that we also see if you take a look at like where Zipline Mafia is situated. Safely on the northern side of zone, almost playing neighbors to Team Liquid with a bit of a gap through that bridge, but Elite, their next plan with S8UL playing right next to them, and IP too, just trying to actually dive in on them. But this is going to be the bloodbath that you can expect when the zone starts closing into.
You've got NIP that's out there throwing seer attacks towards them. S8UL is going to move in on this. We had the drone destroyed from Kinda, and now this is exactly what happened. Short, you get the knock onto a Legacy. The trade comes in and immediately Kinda falls. So it's all about holding steady as Light joins them. NIP, who full sends the third party, likely to wipe both of those rosters.
Served on a silver platter. Thank you very much for all eating when you come down on the altar. TP through the roof. NIP now playing up the low ground though. Vayne looking to give them some suppressed fire. That's a one member, by the way, of Zipline Mafia who wanted to harass them. This starts off the fight though between NIP, RRQ. This is insane. The caustic gas traps though, putting them in the Dutch oven as it's only up to Kirev, and his dreams are shattered as RRQ come out on top with not only the KP, but the position over to the southeastern zone.
It's like you got the building, but at what cost? So now they're going to stabilize. I don't believe anyone else should full send this vicinity because the time is to focus next. You've got got the exhibit down. Unlucky's on the ground, and Reject is out here just focusing forward, but keeping this angle on the stairs.
Although this is crazy, I am seeing Liquid clean up some KP as well. Knocking Unlucky, by the way, but also Team Nemesis are farming in this lobby. The fact that they have, like, what, 7 KP alone as RC now look to take a better position, looking at the action happening all around them. Alliance holding on for dear life, while Vision now share that together with the building of Nemesis, as well as WGR over at their POY advantage.
I had a blast talking to Carter and Loader just yesterday from Team Vision. They were really exciting, but Arufa finds the last member of Alliance. As Hackus falls, so do they. Down to the top 10 we go for Reject. They're still carving their path towards Circle. Do we go towards the collapsing area of Team Vision, WGR, Team Nemesis? Do we go up towards Aurora? We don't really have some good options here, but in the north, this is the battle of coverage from Zipline Mafia and RRQ.
You can also see just playing King of the Hill is Team Nemesis. They're looking at all of this action, and it's just a buffet. KP after KP, they're going to be able to still clean some up. Looking ahead is going to be RRQ, who fought to hold down this building, but Zipline Mafia do get involved. They do be able to 3-peat this, but as RRQ focus on this fight, it needs to be quick.
Pricey can't get the bat off because he's got Team Liquid 0 with a G7 scout behind him. Too many eyes staring at RRQ is their demise. For Zipline Mafia, you can try to go up there and loot that, but thanks to Alter's passive, you can just take what you want without exposing yourself. Team Liquid start to keep that presence onto Zipline Mafia, but with 2 bullets in a Kraber in the hands of Zero. He's just going to use it and probably pick up that G7 again.
Driver Zero looking to see if he can take another victim with that Kraber in hand, while Carter's going to be able to take that TP, maybe getting a kidnap here. Effects looking to clean up on aisle 3 as Nemesis do eventually get eliminated, but it was a great run for them. I think they just stayed at 7 KP, but finding yourselves in the top 7. Now, as Aurora want to keep this rolling, trying to isolate the rest of the teams over to the south side, because Sentinels are another one of those teams, as well as Reject, but Zipline Mafia having that standoff versus Liquid, unless Sentinels end up pushing up and maybe catching Liquid.
BK Gaming fell as well. And back to the G7 scout we go. He had 2 bullets left in the Kraber, took a knock onto Reject with 1 of them, and he's been trying to cross ever since. 10 kills for Team Liquid so far in game number 1. And you know what? They're full sending some more. They want to get closer to Reject, closer to Team Vision, Sentinels, and Aurora. And Zipline Mafia can just stay in the north and be patient.
I mean, the closer that monitor is to Zero's face, the heavier he feels in the way that he's carrying this momentum alongside the rest of his team. 6 KP to his name, the kill leader in your lobby, as VSN Carter jumps in between the portal, does a little dance here, isolates, player stuck on the corner. Where can you go? Where can you hide? You play off the knockdown, he's one shot, and Reject get eliminated. VSN with his own closing in behind him though, little to nowhere to run, and it was just a matter of time as Sentinels also clean up Carter.
And then we see all of the damage coming through. The Cryptos in the lobby causing havoc, and Loader trying to withstand all of it as Blinkster gets lit up. The Wingman, the swap, but it's not enough. Zipline falls, Vision falls, and Team Liquid still standing in the final 3. Full send Sentinels before being completely demolished.
And with the final 2 squads, it's just a matter of time as Aurora clean up Sentinels and clean up game number 1.